And I wanna go home. I wanna go home to Sirius B. Nothing left to do here but live among clones and robots, corrupt government, deceptive medical establishment. I wanna go home, Mama Nebthet, to Sirius B inside me. Good morning. Hello, everybody. I'm back. Thank you for joining us to discuss, and in effect, a video journal of my experience with Kundalini Awakening and all the creativity explosion that is happening inside me, and realizing that I am indeed putting the pieces back together. I There's so many things that I really wanted to talk about, and I had to again walk a good distance to get over here and avoid the landscape workers doing their job, and then trying to find a comfortable location so I don't have to have people's permission to have them on camera. But when people pass by, it does kind of detract my attention. So I did make notes this time. So much has gone on since I spoke with you last at Oak Park. So many realizations. I think because I put Montgomery in the name or the title, that while I'm online, a presentation will come up after mine that's very similar. It could be in Montgomery. And I watched several of those and was just astounded at what I was seeing, and how, just like always, Mama Nebthet will lead me to the truth. It appears that everywhere I've worked, whether with children or adults, jobs that I've had, all the corruption that is everywhere about us, she will lead me there to show me what's really going on, because this is the age of truth. And so after watching one of my presentations or reviewing, I have to review and see what I've said. Sometimes I feel like I go into a trance, and I forget. So I have to study that, so that in bringing information to you, I can be consistent, be truthful, demonstrating a true and open heart chakra and an honest and open throat chakra, being a demonstration of what it is that I'm teaching. And so anything can come along during that process and cause a distraction. And I hate when I go back and review things and realize there's something that I left off, or I said something wrong, or I flubbed a word, or I messed up a song, So I'm developing here as I continue through this process. But anyway, programs came up about Montgomery. And I imagine it's in every city, understanding what we've learned about cloning. We've learned that clones were created to create a different type of black person, to set us apart from the larger community. If you'll just recall, if you're my age, when you grew up, you had friends in the neighborhood, you had a community, maybe you were on a sports team. And then as you grow older, maybe left your hometown, moved about the world, focusing on your materialistic goals, which you had been well conditioned to do. But then you go back to your hometown and you go, what's going on? And then with the advent of the internet, it seems that you couldn't go down the timeline without somebody posting some fight between our people. Just embarrassing things, the Jerry Springer show, and all manner of just seemingly deplorable behavior, which you didn't want to be associated with. And then understanding cloning, you understand fully why and how it happened. So I'm watching the presentation that's after me, and a guy's driving around the town, and he's showing the 10 worst neighborhoods. he's driving through some of the neighborhoods that I drove through and took photos, and noticed all the patterns. We've been through that. I don't like having to repeat myself. So, seeing those young women fighting the way they were in an area of town where I had relatives, I'm familiar with Montgomery. But it's also interesting that when you move back to your hometown, you realize just how much your parents sheltered you from the horrors of racism. So you took certain routes every day to school, to work, to the grocery store, to shop. But then when I moved back to Montgomery, I realized I knew Atlanta more than I knew my own hometown. People would say, are you familiar with this street or that street? And I go, no, I'm not too sure. But while learning all that I learned, all the weird things that happened when I was in the drug experience, and all the people that I was meeting, and just all of that, now I understand better every day, recalling specific situations that had happened, patterns and behavior of people. All of that was a result of the cloning, which was by design manufactured, long time planning, creation of home projects. After learning the secrets of cloning and the intention to destroy and eradicate black people from this planet, it is very real. I have lived through that. You have lived through that. And yet, many of you are still tied to wanting to pretend that this illusion is real and that we have a place in it when we clearly do not. Now, I'm going to look down here at my piece of paper again, because here again, I'm going to cover a lot of things today, hopefully able to tie it all together, beginning with the cloning happening right here in my city. When I got in trouble with the law, I had just happened to be leaving my friend's house who lived in a project where all of those people over there were clones. The people that I sort of got along with were the people who lived there for many years. They lived on the outskirts where the lights were still on, but they were eradicating even that project. And I understand more about all of that now. And so it was actually when I left there after having drank, thought that I was sober enough to go home, and then I got pulled over by the police and I was arrested for the second time in a year, that other time in Birmingham. And I almost ended up spending 3 days in jail, but I had to endure all the other things, the drug treatment, the schools, the being imprisoned in my own car for 18 months. All that happened in my home city, the city where I was excelling as a young person. I was the first black drum major. I've detailed all of that in those 3 presentations about the horrible education we received here at St. Jude Catholic Parish, then at Cloverdale, then at high school. All of that is out there. And I don't even want to hit decline because it may interrupt the presentation. But, where was I? I was speaking about, being in the court system here. I was so embarrassed just walking into a court, thinking that somebody might see me. Look, what has Damien become? I would think that they would think. But anyway, I made it through all of that. But the pieces are being put together. And the understanding of the attack that we are under. We have been all our lives, but more sophisticated these days due to the advances in science and the technology. We are under attack. There's no way to deny that. And now we understand why. And we are understanding the importance of developing our spiritual abilities, which is why we're under attack. And then doing what we can to destroy this illusion forevermore. Melanin is chaos. It is all about adapting to our environment. This is what less melanin people do not have and why we are under attack. And we have to, particularly after we realize our Kundalini has been awakened and our great divine mother who has been written out of history and is calling us back home to her, out of patriarchy, out of this imprisonment. It is our responsibility to pick up that mantle and do all that we can, because we are the chosen ones. We are the fallen ones. We are the monstrous soul chaos beings on this planet. Through Shiva, who awakened my Kundalini, terrified me for many years because everything that I was living for was being torn down, because it hadn't dawned on me that that's what a Kundalini awakening really is. All the way up to this day, I love Shiva. I love Nebthet, who finally came around my life and let me know who she was, even though she appeared the day of my Kundalini awakening in raven form. Later in ladybug and black butterfly form. I have detailed all of that out there. There's 249 presentations out there now, I believe. A video documentary of the Kundalini awakening experience. But the realization that the dragonflies symbolize bringing down illusion, because we have been so misconditioned to buy into this bullshit that we have been living through, that doesn't have a place for us, that is killing us and our people, to the point of cloning our people to turn us against each other, to harm each other, to be drones. By the way, thank you so much, Sting. You know, I'm glad that somebody has the courage to even comment something other than "you look good," or trying to pull me back into that love, 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 bogus bullshit mentality, which I'm never going back in that direction again. I only love what loves me. Highly melanin people with the ability to see clearly and recognize what is happening here. But he commented after the presentation about the experience I had with the lady and her son driving up, that he was perhaps a drone. And perhaps all these people driving around here in these cars are drones, monitoring what's going on in their neighborhood after all the horrors that whomever is responsible for putting drugs in our community, cloning our people, eradicating them. See how pieces are being put together. But I want to thank you for coming, because it had not occurred to me, the drone element. And if you didn't have the courage to speak up, I wouldn't be able to come out here again today and reveal some of the things that I am coming into consciousness about. And that is that Kundalini is an invitation to come home out of illusion. Now, if you love this illusion and every day you wake up, you're happy, or if you've reincarnated children or grandchildren into this nightmare to be imprisoned for their entire lifetime, you need to start checking yourself about whether you're truly conscious, or bogus conscious as I call it. Because we are here on a mission, and it is not to have a better experience while being here. Now, my body is being broken down, my life has been broken down, and I'm not going to deny that that has happened anymore. I'm so fortunate that my musical, as I learn things, I adapt what I'm doing there to continually be in an open heart chakra and open throat chakra mentality to continue to evolve myself. I'm very happy about that. Thank you, Mama Nebthet, for that. Now let me take a look at these notes here. I want to talk about Kundalini and synchronicity. You know, particularly when I was having that drug experience, I mentioned to you, I could turn the corner and be thinking about somebody and boom, they would appear. Well, the same happens in music and radio and TV when your Kundalini is awakened. The other day I was lying at home here at my parents'. I had turned the TV on, but turned it sideways so the rays, which I can feel coming off that thing, aren't impacting directly down on me. But I had put Star Trek on. I had to search through all the channels to find something that I could watch that would probably uplift me rather than put me in a state of consciousness of fear. Because that's what TVs do. It's what television is all about. But Kundalini, when it's awakened, you'll be led to things and you have to decide what to turn off and put out of your awareness. But anyway, Star Trek was playing in the background, and it just happened to be two races or species of beings who had been at war, because one of those species had been evolving and the other species was in fear of that, just like here. And they had killed so many of those people, but some of the people survived. And this man ended up on the Star Trek Voyager, Enterprise rather, and he was confronting the other species that really still wanted all of them dead because they didn't understand what was happening with their body. But to make a long story short, hello, how are you all? By the end of that, the being turned into light and showed what all that evolving process was about. And then he floated up and out of the top of the ship and jettisoned through the cosmos. And I said, now how could I wake up just in time to see that? Because Kundalini is an intelligence of itself, of course. And so is melanin. And we are here on a mission. And we are going to complete it. You know, I'm not feeling as bad today. Thank you so much, my mother. You know, she's trying to fashion our meals and do everything she can to keep me tied to this illusion when I'm, wanting to leave it. But I thank you, Mom. I love you so much. You are, just like all of your mothers, is a representative of the Divine Mother on this planet, if we're that lucky to recognize that. And so I have something here about the brain hemispheres. Let's see what am I talking about with that? The melanin breaking down illusion, forcing up unconscious material to the surface to be integrated into the whole of who we are. You know, being your true and authentic self is very important. Not deluding yourself or others is very important for the energy of Kundalini to rise through the chakra system. You know, Parvati is seeking reunification, and she's not taking any prisoners. Either you're going to be accentuated in the power or you're going to be consumed by it. Because the brain hemispheres, the right hemisphere, I believe it is the feminine principle side that is being activated, the intuition side, away from that logical side. We're stuck in the logic because we have been mind fucked to think logically about everything when we are powerful, creative beings with so much of our brain that has not been used. And so that is the process of spiritual evolution. And either you're going to be conscious of it and go with the flow, or you're going to fall by the wayside. We already see that our ancestors are not playing. When you are using the knowledge that they're sharing with you to boost your own ego or to profit, then they're being taken out. I don't want to call any names. I've done that in other presentations. I don't like doing it. I don't like pointing fingers, because everything that's happening is happening for a reason, and it's for our own benefit. Ultimately, we are eternal beings. We are indestructible. And we are in the last days. Are we just going to not do what we can and allow the continued traumatizing of our people? Or are we going to go within in meditation and do all that we can to develop ourselves fully so that we won't have to pull out guns to shoot? We will be able to mentally do anything that's necessary. That's how powerful we are. And so I want to urge you all, because I have it here, Genetic Coding by Behemoth talks all about that. Please get back to watching his presentations. Here recently, I've been watching, let's see if I can get the name of it right. There's so many. Egyptian Gnostic Doorway. And it's a series, but he starts off talking about cloning. So it's a great place to start. Don't give me this idea that you're at work and you're too busy to talk to me, or you're too busy to do this or that. because you're a slave to the matrix. You make time to do the things that are important. We've always done that. We have to make time to do the things that are important, whether it's a relationship with someone or learning and becoming conscious and studying. Nobody owes you anything. You know, I hate when people jump in my posts expecting me to spoon feed them, when all they have to do was put in a little effort to educate themselves. We're not here to spoon feed you. We're not here to be your leader. We're not here to follow any Messiah. We're here to study, to buy books, to look into things for ourselves, and to think for ourselves. All of us are Messiahs when you think about it. Bobby Hemmett has urged that we don't follow him, and I don't follow anybody. I don't need any other man telling me who I am and what I'm all about. And neither do you. Get it in your heart and mind that you are the power. Only you. You don't need to follow anybody. You know, that's why on Instagram, I pick up my cell phone and somebody's posting something stupid, or their, grandchildren or whatever, and they want everybody to be all excited about that. Well, in the wake of new knowledge, I don't feel that. I'm not happy about enslaving another young person to have to go through all the things I've been through on this bullshit nightmare planet. I don't know if I even mentioned that I'm in Blunt Park here in Montgomery. As I read up a little bit about Blunt Park, and it was talking about segregation and discrimination during the times when black people weren't even allowed in parks, and how this was also one of them. And through the years, legislation was passed. Now, back in the day, before all this renovation, let me just do a little turnaround so you all can see how beautiful it is out here. And then there's something I want to say about that, about beauty and form and adulteroth and lower demiurge entities. Blunt Park was a huge mound, almost like a pyramid. I was a boy. I didn't know very much about pyramids at that time. But they had little steps leading all the way up this huge mound. I believe it was over in this area back here. And now it's a series of mounds and lakes and beautiful structures. It was in fact here when I was in high school. I think I had realized that I could sing a little bit outside of just the shower. And I tried out for the choir in high school. And through that, somebody brought me here where the Shakespeare theater is. So a lot of theater happens here in William Blunt Park. And it was here that I first saw Gypsy. And it was excellent. I remember being in awe. And that's when I became interested in outside of just band and playing an instrument, in theater. I was Johnny Casino in Grease, and I guess that was middle school. And then in high school, I was in choirs, and then later in the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra chorus and chamber chorus, because of the experience I had in college and could read music and those kinds of things as a singer. But it was really here where really all of that started, when I saw Gypsy. Saw people singing and moving about the stage. I hadn't had any experience quite like that as a younger boy. And so, here I am in Blunt Park. And it is, hi, how are you? It is nice to see yourself develop throughout the years and stay present and focused with all of that. Let's see, let me take one more look down at my notes. Like I said, I hate when I get done and I'm riding home, maybe listen to it, and I was like, well, what did I do? Let's see. Oh, I have something here about pre-K. Teaching pre-K. Oh, nature. Let me get back to that. That's perfect. We need to realize that as beautiful as flowers are and all the buildings, the white man, he really is God on this planet. He may be deadening the land by building all these skyscrapers, but beauty and form, because I do believe that the elite are under the influence of adulteroth and these demiurge entities who know who the real deal is, that we are from the primal worlds, and that the great divine mother was coming back, and we are awakening. And so everything on television, even the cloning of people, is to keep you distracted by beauty and form. And it begins very early on, because I taught pre-K, as you recall. We do a lot of singing, a lot of story book reading. That's where Mama Nebthet came in the back door as Black Butterfly, and landed twice on my own high heart. So she's been there all along. But even though things are beautiful, we want to be appreciative of that. But we do not want to forget our mission for being here. And that is developing our body, purifying our body, and allowing the melanin to do what it do. And our organs, which rise up the sushumna, the chakra column, and some of them sit atop the pineal gland. And that is why we are under attack. So we still got to do everything that we can to stay on mission. I am Dr. Damien Q. Laster, Kabir Amin Ra Anpu Sarset Arakti, the conscious doctor, rainbow warrior. Join us. Have a good day. Goodbye.